Now I'll call Briana Foster, please.
Briana Foster. Ms. Foster, please. Good afternoon. Please stand in front of me. Be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, and you may adjust the microphone if you need to. Any questions the attorneys may have.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Would you please tell us your name?
Briana Foster.
And Ms. Foster, back in January of 2023, how were you employed? Okay, I'm going to ask you to speak up a little bit. It can be kind of hard to hear. Did you say that you were could you repeat what you said?
I was employed with New Bermuda Public Schools as the principal.
Okay, and what school were you a principal at?
Richneck Elementary.
Okay. Ms. Foster, if you know, had your school at Richneck Elementary adopted a crisis and emergency management plan?
Yes.
And if I were to show you the plan, would you recognize it?
Yes.
Okay, Judge, may I approach?
You may.
Yes, yes. May I approach?
You may.
Just take a look at that document there, and I'll ask you some questions about it. You don't have to say anything about it at this point.
Kind of getting ahead of this, if they're going to try to take anything out of that document, it's going to be offered for the truth of the matter asserted, and I'm going to be objecting to that document as hearsay.
All right. Understood that that's coming, and when it becomes right, I'll be ready to hear the objections.
Ms. Foster, just let me know when you've had enough time to look at that document.
Do you need me to look through it in full or just?
My question is going to be, is that a fair and accurate copy of the Richneck Crisis Management Plan as you remember it?
I cannot answer that in full, but I remember that it's a very accurate
Understood, I'll take it back. At the time that you were working on January 6th of 2023, were you aware of the crisis management plan?
Yes, I do recall that we have one.
Okay. And what was the purpose of having a crisis management plan at all?
We're just required to, every school is required to have one.
Okay. Was it your intention that you would follow the crisis management plan in a crisis?
Yes.
Okay. I want to take your attention then to January 6th of 2023. On that day, was there a crisis incident that occurred at the school?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that in brief?
Later that afternoon, I found out that there was a student, it was reported that a student had a weapon.
Okay. At any point, was there a critical incident that required police to show up?
Would you mind clarifying what you mean, how?
Did something huge happen on January 6th of 2023? That's the whole reason we're here?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that?
That a student shot his teacher.
Yes. So I want to ask you, prior to that moment, the moment of the shooting,
Yes.
had anyone...
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm going to object to her response to the question unless she actually observed the incident. I don't think that she was present when that occurred, so she can testify to what she observed, but she has made a conclusion that I don't think she can really testify to.
Response.
Judge, it's the incident for which we are here. She's the principal of the school. She knows what happened at the school that day. I'm just trying to orient her in time so that I can ask a question.
So I'll overrule it as receiving that posture as to why are we here in court today, the incident that brings you in court today. Not that she observed it or anything
Yes.
further than that without further questions and testimony.
Thank
So
you,
what's
Judge.
your next question?
Prior to that event occurring at your school, did anyone tell you that JT or anyone that there was a weapon on campus?
Yeah.
Any hint from anyone that there was a weapon on your campus prior to that?
Yeah.
Roughly how many students attended Richneck at that time? And I don't mean on that day, but just the total number of students that would have been in the school. And you can give us an estimate.
I truly not recall, but if I had to give you a number, maybe 500.
Okay. I want to talk to you about a student named JT. Are you familiar with who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. We're not using any student names at all, so any students that you mention, please don't use their name. Had you personally, prior to the incident on January 6th, so earlier that year, had you personally had any issues with JT's behavior that you saw?
Yes.
Okay, and what's the objection? I didn't hear you, Mr. Chairman. Relevant. Okay, response?
If she handled a discipline issue with JT that the defendant knows about, then it's relevant, as all of those are.
We've allowed those in previously, so I'll allow this in to be consistent. So you may proceed. You can answer the question. Do you need him to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
So the question was, in the time before, the days before the shooting, had you personally been aware or observed behavior of JT that was a discipline issue?
Yes.
And could you just describe that?
To my memory, earlier that week, between him and his first grade teacher, involving her cell phone.
Okay, and did that situation come to you?
Yes.
And who appeared to you to inform you?
I think it was 2 people that came to me. I don't remember if it was his teacher.
Okay.
I'm sitting here trying to think back exactly how I knew about it, but I remember calling his mother that evening.
Okay. So as a result of that incident, you did contact his mother?
Yes.
Okay. Any other specific instances, discipline-wise, of JT that year that you remember? If you don't remember, that's fine to say that.
Not in detail, but there were other incidences that took place.
Okay. If you know, did the school attempt to do anything to try to moderate that behavior?
Yes.
And what was it that the school did to attempt to control the behavior?
I don't remember the name of the process that was in place. However, they met, it was a scheduled number of, like, let's say, weeks or throughout the month where they would meet with the teacher, assistant principal, parent, and Ms. Kovac to go over his progress, academics, behaviors, and come up with a plan, essentially progress monitoring how he was doing it in school.
Okay. And I just have one last question for you. Is it true that you were working at the school hand in hand with Dr. Ebony Parker?
Yes.
Okay. And is Dr. Parker in the courtroom right now?
Yes.
Okay. Could you please just describe what she's wearing and identify her for the judge or point her out?
Yes. She has brown and black hair. If I'm not mistaken, she has some navy blue.
And just may the court recognize she's identified the defendant?
So noted.
Thank you. I have no further questions for you. Please answer any questions of the defense counsel.
Thank you.
Can I take a moment?
Yes.
Good afternoon. How are you? Just a few questions. There was a crisis management plan in place. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. So there was a crisis management plan in place. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And if there were any type of crisis at the school, had you instructed any of the teachers or staff not to come to you with that crisis?
No.
Okay. Was it the policy of your school for staff members to bring problems to Dr. Parker and if whatever she said goes? Or were you ultimately responsible for the safety of the students at your school?
To my knowledge, this is joint. In my previous positions, it's hard to say. Like, ultimately, I am as a principal, yes.
Okay. So would you expect your staff members, if they weren't satisfied with whatever was brought to the assistant principal, that they should bring whatever that crisis or problem to you?
Yes.
Okay. Did that occur on January 6th of 2023?
No.
Could any teacher who had a disruptive student in their class, could they have brought that student to the administrative office?
Yes.
Okay. Would you expect them to bring that student to the administrative office?
Yes.
If any teacher or staff member had the belief that there was a firearm possessed with possessed by a student, would you agree that that student should be separated from the rest of his classmates?
Yes.
Would you also agree that law enforcement should be immediately notified?
Yes.
Before the shooting, as far as you know, did any of those steps take place?
To my knowledge, no.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor? Your Honor, that's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Briefly, Judge. So on January 6th, during that day, what were you doing and where were you in the school?
Do you want a timeline of the whole day?
As much as you remember, it's fair enough. If you don't remember, you can say you don't remember, but just as much as you remember, where were you and what were you doing that day?
That day we had some interviews in the morning. I subbed for a game teacher break so she could handle lunch for herself, a personal lunchtime.
Now, when you were doing the interviews, where would you have been in the school?
The main office in my office.
In your office, okay. And then the second thing you said you did was what again?
Relieving teacher so she could have a lunch break.
So that would have been in a classroom?
Yes.
Okay. Then what?
Then I remember we had a family and military life meeting with the new partnership that we were forming
Okay. Where did that occur?
in our conference room.
Okay.
And then after that, during that meeting, I remember emailing our lead custodian to ask if I think I walked or emailed our lead custodian, maybe Dr. Parker, asking about space, because they wanted to know about space, and I couldn't remember off the top of my head where we could get them. And then after that meeting was over, Dr. Parker and our lead custodian came to my office, in addition to 2 students who were waiting to speak with me, came to my office.
Okay. And while you're in your office, what's the first signal you get that something is wrong?
I think the words I heard were, "He has a gun," or "She's been shot."
Okay.
And then
What did you do?
from there, I slammed my door, and I took the 2 students who were in my office and everyone else, and I shoved them into the bathroom and tried to barricade them in. I called my direct supervisor and 911, and we were telling everyone in the bathroom that I'm going out. And I remember someone saying, "You can't." I have to. And then when I went out, Miss Zwerner was on the ground, and there were staff. And I remember saying, like, "Please put the school on lockdown." And Miss O looked up. I looked up, and Miss O said she had already put the school on lockdown.
All right. Thank you. I don't have anything further for you.
Your Honor, I don't have any follow-up.
Thank you. And the status of this witness?
I would ask that she be constructively sequestered and subject to recall.
No objection to that, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Ms. Foster, what that means is, they're done with their testimony for now. They may recall you to come back to the witness stand, but you don't have to physically stay in the building.
Okay.
So you may leave the building, just make sure that the contact information is good. So if they need to recall you as a witness, they can. You cannot stay in the courtroom,
Okay.
and you cannot discuss the case until it's over.
And does that mean for the remainder of the trial? Or just
For the remainder of this criminal trial, until this trial is concluded, you cannot discuss your testimony. You are a sequestered witness, but we are not going to require you to remain in the witness room. So you can go about your day and be available if we need to call you back. And they'll let you know when the trial is ended in case, so with that, when your sequestration ends.
Okay.
All right? Thank you very much. And at this time, can we break for lunch?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so it is 1:05.
Judge, can we let the witness?
Yeah, well, yeah, come on
Yes.
down, yeah, come on down while I'm talking. So we'll break for lunch. Is there anything, any motions that we need to take up? I'm trying to time when the jury should come back.
Nothing to come.
None from the defense.
So let's come back at 2:15, which means I need all the jurors to report at the room downstairs or back here by 2:10. So we need all the jurors to come back at 2:10. I'm giving you an hour, and we will resume at 2:15 p.m. Again, jurors, do not discuss the case, do not research the case, and you're welcome to leave the building and/or there's food back there in the jury room if you want to stay in the building. Okay, we are in recess. Thank you.
Please stand for the jurors.